I have a message for people that own aggressive dogs. It's a really, really tough problem. And let me define aggressive. This is a dog that has bit even as few as one time, but has broken the skin. And I'm not talking about a puppy with puppy teeth that are making you bleed. I'm talking about an adult dog that has sunk his teeth into you or one of your kids or a neighbor or the mailman. If you have a dog like that and you have hired a professional trainer and things seem to get better, and then you backslid, and then the dog bit somebody else, and then you got back to training, and then you tried more management, and then the dog growled at one of your kids, or this happened or that happened. My recommendation is that you take the dog to the vet and you mercifully put the dog down. Okay? Nobody wants to say that. Everybody wants to say, rehome the dog. Can you find somebody else that can have this dog and maybe that doesn't have kids? And can we find the perfect home for this dog? Well, maybe you could find the perfect home for that dog. Maybe it'll take you 10 years to find that home. But you're looking for a home where someone is willing to take on the liability of a dog that bites people. That's a financial liability. It could be an emotional liability. God forbid it bites a child in the face and the kid is emotionally scarred for life, let alone having to get the face repaired, you know, with plastic surgery and whatnot. So I love dogs. I have a pretty low tolerance for aggression, and I've worked with a lot of aggressive dogs, and I feel like at this point in my career, if you want to call it that, and you know, I remember hearing, you know, the positive trainers not wanting to handle the dogs, not working with the dogs, and then I heard another trainer who was, you know, had years, you know, decades more experience than me, say, oh, if the dog bit, you know, he had this very short list of criteria. If the dog does this, this, and this, put the dog down. Really matter of fact, quick, put the dog down. Like he could tell the people on the phone that quick. And I was like, shoot, that's pretty harsh. You know, let's see what the dog's all about. Maybe we can work with the dog. I've worked with a ton of aggressive dogs. And just because they work well for me doesn't mean they're not going to bite somebody else. And I'm making this video because I had a client call me last week with a dog that had been biting people. I took the dog in for a boarding and training. We got the dog on track. The dog was doing well. The dog did well for about 2 years at home. And the dog then bit her mom, who was there to visit, an older lady, and it was a severe bite. Severe friggin' bite on the arm. I mean, it was harsh. And I was surprised that she chose at that point to continue to keep the dog. We did more training, and you know, I told her about the management. We worked the dog. Everything was great, and it didn't happen again. And now, 2 years later, the dog is now she has a 7-year-old daughter. Dog is snapping at her daughter. I said, listen, take the dog, put the dog down, go get a puppy, get a golden retriever puppy for your daughter. She's old enough now to enjoy a puppy that she can hug and love on and not get her face ripped off. And I think that was the best thing that she could do. And I hope that she took my advice. So if you take on a dog with aggression problems from the pound, where they tell you this dog is aggressive and has this issue and that issue, and you chose to take the dog on, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I think that you need to look within yourself as to why you would take on that much liability. What is it that causes you to take on a responsibility like that? I have no idea. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people that get dogs that turns out to be aggressive, wasn't anticipated, wasn't expected, and it just turns out to have a lot of aggression issues. And usually this is a rescue situation, but it can be with some purebreds too, and some of these mix intentional mixes that they come up with now. So, short answer is if your dog is biting people, sinking its teeth into people, the responsible thing to do is take the dog to your local veterinarian and have the dog put to sleep. And that's the shitty advice, you know, like nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that, you know. People would rather pay a lot of money to have somebody like me work with the dog. They'd rather pay to have someone like me keep their dog. But the responsible thing to do is take the dog and put the dog down. So that's it, guys. I just wanted to share that with you, and you know, knowing you did the best you can, as far as you know, you've done work with trainers, this, that, and the other thing. You've done your best.